I have truly never seen a more attentive group of villagers in my entire life of speaking. You're very, very good, and I'm very impressed. Don't lose it, because this is very important. I put on makeup for you guys today. And if you don't think that's a big deal, ask my personal assistant, my executive assistant, Linda. We're driving in, she says, "Wow, you're wearing makeup. This must be important." Thank you, Linda, you're fired. I am really, truly honored to be here today. This is a great occasion for me to be able to share with you some things that are very, very hard to share sometimes. But in the last few years, as I have reached my, I'd love to say middle 60s, but I'm really apparently in the silver group, 67 going on 68. I'm taking it seriously, but I'm not having anything lifted or tucked yet. Or tucked because I can't talk either. This event, Diane is quite right. And by the way, you need to know that once you have the kind of leadership that this Alzheimer's project has with our County Board of Supervisors, led by someone as dynamic. I don't care what everyone says about you, Diane, I really like you. And Greg Cox co-sponsoring this, Dave Roberts, Nick, I'm just getting to know. It's an incredible force for you. Use it, welcome it, and help them in any way that you can, because I intend to do so myself. That's okay, it's all right. Save it for later, it's okay. Had my hair done for you yesterday also. Thank you, hairdressers everywhere. This event is putting a spotlight on important issues like Alzheimer's and related dementias. The county's leadership, as I've said, is highlighting this, and it's good news for all of us, and I do mean for all of us. My given topic was from heartbreak to hope. I have to admit that it goes hope, heartbreak, heartbreak, hope, and keeps going like that, and I know that many of you have experienced that. My journey has been full of blessings through life. In the years since I met my husband 36 years ago, not so great before that, really good after him. And I know a lot about heartbreak. I've tried to channel that pain, though, into positive moves. It isn't always easy. But today, I really do see a reason for hope, for families going through tough times with a loved one, for caregivers who need a helping hand themselves. And I'm not new to the game. I was, when I was a young girl back, so some of you are gonna know about this, some of you might not. I was a candy striper. Now, thank you, fellow candy stripers, villagers, and silver-haired people. The last time I talked about this, I slightly misspoke and said that I had been a candy stripper. Yes, there are people in San Diego who think that I will strip for candy. It's not true. I will strip for chocolate, but not just candy. No, please do not come rushing up to the stage offering me chocolate. I'm not doing it today. Diane's here and I'm really scared, not to mention Bonnie Dumanis, who would have me in handcuffs in about 2 seconds. Thanks for not bringing Bill Gore with you. I really appreciate it, Bonnie. But I do know what it's like to be a caregiver. For me, the battle against Alzheimer's and related dementias does go back decades. I lost my uncle, my aunt, probably my grandfather, and my most loved mother to Alzheimer's, and the effect was frankly devastating to me and the entire family. When Mom died, I struggled to try to determine what I could do to honor her, what I could do to also lift myself out of the abyss I found myself in, to do something that would lessen the pain of what I had felt and others before me had felt. It took a while, but I did arise from the pain and started to proactively, I hoped, seek solutions. My sweet late husband, Donald, and I, we funded research. We funded programs with caregiving projects. We built buildings for care. I joined the National Board of the Alzheimer's Association for several years. I participated in fundraising activities. I spoke out in any venue that would have me. I acted in a play that focused on Alzheimer's. They cast me as a diva. I can't imagine why they cast me as a diva, but I'm sure someone had a reason. I frankly tried everything that I could think of. And then I have to admit, the worst possible scenario for me emerged. as my Donald fell ill to what we referred to as one stroke too many, and vascular dementia took over in the last months of his life. I learned what it was like to try to keep your loved one at home, what it was like to need nurses living with you, and how fortunate I was that Donald had worked so hard all his life that we had the funds to satisfy those financial needs. Donald was an extraordinary man, an inventor of medical devices, a heart valve that saved probably over 400,000 people's lives. That's a pretty good body of work. And he was mine. For 32 years, he was mine. We prospered, but the emotional toll of dealing with such illnesses is not solved or soothed by having those funds. Everyone is overwhelmed. Everyone suffers the anguish of losing and loss. Water, not vodka or gin. When Donald looked at me one day as I scurried around to help him get ready to face the day, he said to me, "You're so nice. Do you work here?" And I honestly thought I would crumble to the floor. There are no underpinnings to support you when you reach this point. Caring for Donald and watching him go through that was the most difficult thing I've ever done. And it was like a never-ending pain, and I know many of you understand that. Now, we found moments. You have to find moments. You have to find humor somewhere. We would declare what we called adventure days. We'd get Donald all ready, and we'd get him in the wheelchair. We'd roll him into the ramp van, and we'd go to Escondido for ice cream. Special shout out to North County folks. I live in North County. I know where you are. I know what you're doing, and thank you very much. But ice cream in Escondido was sensational. It was a whole day trek for us. We made a big deal out of it because it was a big deal. And it brought a smile to the face, and watching Donald point to whichever ice cream he wanted, or ice creams in the plural, made it worth that day. I found out that 5 people with Alzheimer's are cared for at home. 4 out of 5 people. Yeah, right, 5 people. Nothing wrong with me. Often by family members who are struggling with their own issues, with their own mental health, with their own physical problems. I'm also told that studies have shown that caregivers neglect their own health and diet, especially caregivers who provide assistance with the basic activities of daily living. Now, doctors will tell you, take some time for yourself, take some time. You cannot help your loved one if you aren't functioning yourself. So I finally listened to them. I tried it. I went off on a trip. And then, of course, the big, huge fire of 2007 happened when I was out in the middle of the ocean and Donald was in Palma Valley facing a fire evacuation. We spent a great deal of time and effort trying to get him out of there. One of my favorite nurses, Stella, was trying to convince Donald while it was still dark to get out of bed and get dressed. And at that time, Donald could talk, and he says, why are we getting dressed? It's still dark out. She says, well, we've got a special event to go to. And Donald said, well, how special is it? Okay, Stella, calling on everything she knew about Donald, said, well, it's up at the high school, and they've got chocolate chip cookies. And if we leave now, we can get there before everybody else and get to the cookies. Donald thought, yes, this is a great plan. She got him dressed. They went to the high school and were evacuated. Now, I got to tell you, folks, I'll use anything, and I do mean anything. Stripping for candy, chocolate chip cookies, whatever it takes to get the chocolate done. You notice there's a chocolate theme here? I'm surprised I'm not wearing a chocolate color today, but my executive assistant says I look lousy in brown, so I won't be doing that. As you know, many caregivers are older themselves. Many have limited resources to get the help they need, even if it's just an occasional break from their often truly grueling routine. And this isn't unique to Alzheimer's, you know that. Daily caregiving is hard, no matter what the disease is. And watching what Donald went through was tough, and sometimes he would put together sentences that he apparently thought were just terrific and made great sense. And I had no clue as to what he was saying. It was very frustrating. I would sit there and try to figure out what he was trying to say, and he would get upset with me because I wasn't participating in his conversation with me. Like all of you, you just want to sit down and cry because there isn't, what else do you do except cry at a point like that? And I think to myself, I can't do this anymore. But then I knew I always had to be strong for him. And as you all know, that's what keeps you staying there, doing it, keeping at it, and looking for the hope at the end of the tunnel. Let me share with you a Thanksgiving we had. This was when Donald was past being able to speak, and I was having to not just cut up, but to Cuisinart his food. Donald was wild about Thanksgiving, the smells of Thanksgiving turkey throughout the house. And so it was Donald, me, and Ernesto, our main nurse, and so I cooked up the whole Thanksgiving dinner. I mean everything, Portuguese stuffing from scratch. I mean, I really did it. So I served the meal, and I served Ernesto his dinner and a glass of wine. And then I Cuisinarted each one of the items for Donald so that they were separate in the colors, and it was very beautiful. But it was Cuisinarted food. Now, it didn't look so bad when I Cuisinarted enchiladas for some reason, but it wasn't looking good as a turkey dinner. So I put it in front of Donald. Donald looks at his plate, looks at Ernesto's. Yeah, oh yeah, you know where this is going. He looks back at his, and then he looks up at me with that, "Are you serious? He's got this, and I'm going to eat this slop? Are you actually serious, lady?" And I couldn't help it. I had to laugh. So I went back into the kitchen, and I'm standing there thinking, okay, I'm trying. Ernesto came in. We heard this kind of clinking, and I looked around the corner, and there's Donald. And he's looking around. I don't know what he was looking at. There was nobody in the room. He reaches over, and he takes Ernesto's glass of wine, goes like this, puts it back. And I thought, you sweet, dear man. If it wasn't for the medications, I'd give you all the wine you wanted to drink. But it was a happy moment in the midst of enormous pain, and I took it. And I encourage all of you to take those moments because they are few and far between. And today I continue to do all that I can to help end the epidemic, and it is an epidemic of Alzheimer's. And hopefully, that's where hope comes back in again. Someday a diagnosis of dementia doesn't have to be a death sentence. And I've met with local research and seen the great work that they are doing. I've helped fund that work. And we're looking for a treatment, a cure, we're looking for anything we can get our hands on at this point. And I believe that there's a real chance for a medical breakthrough, and I've supported these efforts. By doing what I can, it takes away a little bit of the pain. And it's important to talk honestly about these subjects, the challenges of dealing with Alzheimer's. There's still a stigma around these diseases. We need to talk about them, and then we need to do something. Talk is terrific. Doing is better. Walking the talk is what we all have to do. I think that tackling killer diseases like this will take energy, focus, time, funds, and I believe our Alzheimer's Project will help chart the way. It's bringing together local care experts, the best research, along with the Alzheimer's Association and other organizations to address this disease and the other dementias. They tell me that 1 out of 3 seniors dies with Alzheimer's or another type of dementia. I said it before, I'll say it again. I'm honored to be part of this project. I truly believe that projects like this can lead to improvements in care, and not just for those dealing with Alzheimer's. Maybe it could help steer us towards a cure, a treatment, some sort of respite that we're all looking for, because time does not stop. I learned a lot about who my friends were and weren't during those very, very dark years with Donald slipping away from me. You remember those people that come to your aid in the smallest of ways sometimes. I've had a lot of heartbreak, especially with Donald, but I want to keep in mind the given topic, which is heartbreak to hope. Okay, this is a hard part, so we're going to take this a little slower. And there was hope that I found in the comments of a stranger on the last cruise Donald and I attempted. And I say attempted because it was kind of my last-ditch effort. I don't know, I guess I was trying to nudge him or push him or shove him into coming back to me. I wanted him back. And I thought, okay, we'll go on a cruise. He loved cruising. Maybe being around the ocean and air and everything, this will do something. So our little entourage went aboard the ship, took 3 nurses, Donald in his wheelchair, a portable lift, I forget the name of it, Arjo lift, 5 suitcases with medical stuff, and then our regular suitcases. I booked 3 cabins so that one of the nurses would always be able to rest, the other 2 would be on duty, and I would be on duty. And we set, we set out to sea. We didn't have as much of a throat problem then as we do now. And one night, I released all of the nurses together, and I said, okay, just one of you come back from the luau sober. I just need one of you sober to help me get Donald into bed. Unfortunately, apparently all of them were tone deaf that day. They came back so swacked they could barely walk. But it's okay, because we made it through. But as I had told them every step of the way for that 4.5 years, I always want my husband to look like he's getting ready to go out. I want him well-groomed. I want him dressed, even if he's in bed. I want him to look the best that he can. I figured it was important for his dignity, and that was my job to make sure that happened. I never had to tell them twice. And remember, these were 3 strangers that I sat across the table from when Donald was finally released from the hospital the last time. I thought, wow, I don't know any of you people. You're going to be living in my home. And it was a little scary. But this night, it was Donald and me at dinner. We always fed Donald in the room because I didn't want him to be embarrassed trying to eat in front of, hundreds of people in a dining room on a ship. And it was a formal night, so he was in his tuxedo and I was dressed up. And I was trying, and somewhere during that dinner I thought, I have lost this battle. I can't get him back. This is it. We're really in the last times of this. So this is why this particular moment in time was very special. And the reason that I found the hope that I did in comments from a total stranger on that cruise. I will never forget the kind words, the found hope that someone that had watched us throughout the cruise shared with me on that final night. The bottom line, the woman was traveling with her mother and was very frustrated that her mother wasn't responding as the woman had expected. Now, she had been noticing each night that Donald was well-dressed, groomed, and I talked to him like he understood every word and was participating in the conversation. She came over to our table, and I had been watching her watching me for all these nights, thinking, wow, a stalker, somebody, and this was before PBS, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'm used to PBS stalkers. I can't believe so many of you watch PBS in your beds Sunday nights at 9 o'clock. Thank you, PBS fans everywhere. I was just curious as to how much of you had seen me on PBS. And she told me, this woman, this stranger told me that she had learned from me. She had learned from me that she wasn't being kind enough, that she wasn't being understanding, that she wasn't coping well enough, that I had given her hope that perhaps she could do better, that her mother would somehow know there was a change. And for the first time in a long time, I felt that I had finally passed the baton. I couldn't do any more for Donald than I had, and believe me, I had tried everything. But I helped this stranger in her relationship with her mother. I had given her hope, just as I had almost lost mine. I thank you for the privilege today, all of you, for sharing parts of my journey with you. We all have work to do, and I am here, and I always will be, For my mother, my husband, and for all of you, thank you.